Hi, and welcome to A Drummer's Guide to, the podcast all about the things that it takes to be a professional musician aside from actually playing your instrument. I'm in a new environment once again. I am actually cat sitting, so there are currently two cats kicking about, one of which is behind me. I don't know whether you can see that if you're watching this, so that's Katia. So there may be different kinds of interruptions today. Also, there's a rock tumbler going right there. There's building work behind me, so we'll do what we can. We make do with what we are given in the situation. But anyway, how are you today? So let's just start out doing the thing. Oh, I didn't do all the spiel. So this is a podcast all about things it takes to be a professional musician, aside from actually playing your instrument. My name is Emily Dolan Davis. I am a drummer, have been since 1999. I've been professional since 2008 and helping others to achieve their professional dreams since 2018, and talking like a moron like that since 2018 and probably much earlier. But yes, okay, let's start with a shout out to a lovely Patreon member. This one's a quick one because honestly, don't know anything about this person aside from their name is Eric with a K. So Eric, thank you to you for being a Patreon member and supporting the podcast. I really appreciate it. I hope you're doing well. Please do feel free to reach out and say hello because, I always like to have conversations with my listeners just to check that I'm helping, really. And if you yourself would like to become a Patreon member and help support this podcast, then you can at patreon.com/Emily Drums. So today's episode. Oh, also, let me apologize. Did not get an episode last week. Life was lifing last week. I had it all planned out to do my episode on the Friday, and that day was not the day and I ran out of time. So it's currently Monday. It's the first thing I'm doing this week. I apologize, but here we are. So today's episode, I'm going to read you the message that I received, which is going to have inspired this episode and hopefully help in some way. So I'm just going to read this right here. Right, so this is from a random person, an anonymous person, they haven't left their name. So, what's the best way to get high quality content video-wise from a phone? I am doing Amdram pit work and doing more networking with MDs, but I need more videos of my playing where the quality looks better as it's being filmed off my phone. The good news is that I'm also doing a lot of networking/sitting in on West End tours with guitarists, and I've got 2 separate show runs of a particular musical under my belt with more to come. What's the best way to get more noticed on Instagram video content wise? Okay, so first of all, to this person, thank you so much for your question. I hope I can help because it's always very difficult to kind of offer suggestions with not a lot of information. You've given me a fair bit, to be fair, but I kind of can only read between the lines. So, right, Instagram videos, getting noticed, some lovely hammering going on. I'm hoping that isn't too loud. I apologise if it is, but there we are. So I think the very, very first question, before that, I'd like to share my thoughts on how I see Instagram and posting. So, to me, I think you know by now, I think that Instagram and social media generally is a fantastic way to promote your services, to promote yourself as a brand. It's basically your own branding platform, which is a wonderful thing. I prefer Instagram currently because I love that you can do videos and you can do photos. You know, there's a nice balance, that it just looks nice. I did TikTok for a little while, didn't quite work for me. I don't think my audience is on TikTok, but anyway. And same with Facebook, didn't really get on with that, and people seem to be jumping ship with Facebook anyway. So anyway, where we are right now, Instagram is the one for me, and it sounds like it is for this person too, so that's awesome. That's a nice start. So the way that I see Instagram, first of all, is kind of like my feed, when I post on Instagram, on the main feed, I see that like a rolling kind of CV. or EPK or whatever you're trying to promote yourself as. That's kind of the rolling version of what you're presenting as. So currently mine is very much based around this podcast that then, and also promotes my one-on-one coaching business. That's what it is right now. It has been different things in the past for me, depending on where I'm concentrating my energy, but life circumstances right now, I am purely coaching, and let me tell you, I love it. And podcasting, which I also really enjoy when I can get them done. Very, very not good. Anyway, I'm human. It's fine. So that's how I see the feed. It's very much that. And what comes with that is sort of a level of quality that needs to come from my posts. That's how I see it. And again, this is all, as always, just my opinion. You know, feel free to think differently, feel differently, do something different, but I'll just let you know how I feel about it. And then in terms of my stories, I find that a very good way to connect with people on a personal level. So those are the things that are less perfect, less produced, they have less quality in them in terms of production quality, but they're more vulnerable, they're more human. You know, when things are going wrong, I might post about it on my stories because I know it's going to, you know, I might have a vulnerable moment, but I know that it's going to be gone in 24 hours. So I can kind of deal with that, but at the same time still create a bit of a personal relationship with people, show my personality a little bit more. In fairness, I think I do that fairly well on this podcast these days. But yeah, so that's kind of how I see it in a broad sense, my Instagram, the difference between stories and feed. So that's the first thing that I have to say on that front. Now, for this particular person, who I am assuming is a guitarist, just from reading the message, I'm assuming you're a guitarist. Let's hope I'm not completely stupid and completely got that wrong. But I think the first thing to ask yourself is who, like you're saying you want more traction on your Instagram from your videos. By the way, I love that you're doing videos. I think video is the medium to use at the moment. It's so powerful. But the first thing to really define is who is your audience? Who are you posting for? And I've mentioned this before, but you know, as a guitarist, if you're posting for other guitarists, those are very different posts to wanting to post for other musicians to hire you on gigs, whether that's MDs or whether that's side drummers, bass players, whatever. If you're an artist in your own right for your fans, that's a completely different mindset as well, completely different style of posting and content to post. So I think really defining and drilling down that, and it can be very hard. I've found it hard where I feel like in the past I've been like, right, I'm posting this for musicians to hire me or artists to hire me. But then my insecurity just as a drummer will come out and I'll post something that's for drummers, and it's just purely because I'm feeling less than in that moment. But it's useless. It's useless for like, well, it's not useless for another drummer to see that, but it's like, because I do get a lot of work from depth work and from other drummers recommending me, but it's a drummer posting for drummers is very different to a drummer posting for musicians. And it's the same with guitarists. Like, for instance, if I see someone's feed come up, like as suggested or whatever, and I go to their profile and it's guitarist. Now, if they're posting their amps and their pedals, I'm bored. I don't care. I literally like, really good for you. I'm so happy that you love what you do and you love your pet, but I really don't care. I want to hear you playing. I want to hear you vibing. I want to see you performing. I want to feel it. You know what I mean? Or I want to learn about you. So talking to camera, really interesting sort of stuff. So yeah, so I think just defining like, and I feel like, again, I'm completely reading between the lines here that maybe you're already posting with that in mind. So kudos to you. That's definitely the first thing that kind of needs to be done. Now, in terms of, you were saying about quality of videos filmed by a phone. Now, the quality of the video is only ever going to be as good as what your phone is, right? However, you can definitely add quality to what you're doing. And from what you're saying, my inclination would be to create a series of like show reel / montage type posts. So let's say you're doing 4 gigs a week or whatever. I don't know how often these pit gigs are happening, but obviously if you're in a pit in one venue, you've literally got one space to work with. I was working with a client on this before where he was just like, dude, I'm literally there for 2 months. Like, how do I make this interesting? And honestly, just angles within the pit. Maybe you set up a camera at front house so you can get the actual audience as well, and a bit of the performance. But creating a montage type post with all of that can make it interesting with the different angles. You know, maybe you do some like close-up shots of your finger work on guitar, or like a little more one where you're seeing your face. I think it's very important to put up footage where you can actually see the person's face. Also, I know it's pit, so it's different, but some form of performance, like just being into it, even if it's like a stank face situation, like just be into it, you know what I mean? Because you want to be projecting this, what I can bring to the gig, and that's not just playing wise, that's also performance wise. And that brings me on to my second point, which is that often, and I'm sure you found this, many people that are watching this, audio from a gig when filmed on a phone, horrendous. Even at the best of times, it's not great. Like, unless you're getting a feed from the front of house desk, and even then it can sound strange because it's been mixed to the room, which is going to be different than a direct out, unless you're recording into a door or whatever and doing multis and then mixing it, fine, but that is a whole ton of work. And at the end of the day, I feel there definitely is a balance between the amount of work put into production and the payoff. And also there's a timescale thing there, because that's just elongating the amount of time, the amount of effort, the amount of energy that you have to put in to create one post potentially. That's not a good return on investment of time to me. It's like, no, I'd rather that you had like 10 sort of okay posts versus one perfect post. Absolutely not. I just don't think there's value in that, because at some point that one valuable post will become obsolete anyway, because you will have progressed as a player in what you're doing and all of that. That's what we're hoping anyway. Like I say, it's a rolling CV, so you want to be updating it all of the time. Like, look at what I'm up to, look at how busy I am, look at this gig that I'm doing, look at that gig I'm doing. Not, this is one moment in time and I only want you to see this. It's not the one. People want to know that you're working, simply. So anyway, to combat the sound issue, which obviously sound is everything, it's literally our job, it's creating nice sounds, then what I would do is, with those kind of montage videos, I would record a separate, in this case, guitar track. So, I mean, I don't mean to be rude, but you're incredibly lucky that you get to play an instrument where you can literally play it anywhere. You can DI out of into an interface if you wanted to. I know that's not ideal, it's probably not what you want, but you're able to. Drums, much harder to create those tracks. Possible and doable and all of that. It's just a little more effort. So anyway, the fact that you can do that, do it. Create a piece, or do even a cover. Take the guitar off using something like Moises, and do it in this, I always say this, do it in the style that you want to be playing. If you're doing a West End show, or a show that has a recording online, like of a released album of the actual show, maybe take the guitar off of that and play the piece. But, you know, make sure that it's interesting. Make sure the cuts are interesting and quick, and make sure that the guitar piece or the music or whatever matches the energy that you want to bring. Just bring something to the situation. So maybe, I mean, it could be a 10-minute soundscape. I mean, you can't post that long, but yeah, like it could be that if you wanted. But this is the thing, I think getting creative with it, it can be a fun process. I think if you can find the fun in the process of it, then that really, really, really helps just to not only create something interesting, but maintain it as well. Because I think that's the other thing, it's about maintaining the consistency of creating these things. So maybe at the end of each week, and I used to do this, I haven't done this in a long time, but at the end of each week, like I was doing, like let's say at some points I was gigging maybe 5 times a week, and rehearsals as well. And what I would do is just take little snippets of each of the gigs and the rehearsals, and I would cut them together, and I would create something at the end of each week, and then we start another week. And yes, it's work, it's effort, but it's worth it, because this, you know, it's better to, and also, if you do these things, please post them, because I know so many people that have mountains. I'm one of them, to be fair. Mountains of footage that, do you think I'm ever going to get to it realistically? No, because I missed the boat on it. I didn't do it at the time, and now like some of it is so irrelevant. Like it's like Kim Wilde footage, there's Howard Jones footage that I have. I'm pretty sure there's Thompson twins footage that I have. Have I used it? No. Do I know where it is? Not really, kind of. Do I really want to sift through it? Absolutely not. And am I going to? Highly unlikely. Highly, highly, highly unlikely, unless I'm incredibly bored for a very protracted period of time and I have nothing else left to do. So let's face it, it's never maybe minus 0.0001%. So get into a routine of like actively doing that. And the other thing is you can also, I speak about this on other episodes, like setting up cameras for still shots with like on a timer or whatever. You can also splice in videos as well, just to create some interest, you know. And obviously, well, not obviously, sometimes photos can be of higher quality. So maybe you do have some footage that is a little bit grainy, but then if you cut in a high quality picture, then it kind of breaks it up in a nice way. It's like, oh, cool, okay, yeah, I see what's going on. So yeah, I feel like maybe that is a good way to create a higher production value just from the point that you're at, if that makes sense. And again, just using the footage, but then creating the audio, very important, I think. Unless you can get an actual feed off the desk. But again, then you're involving other people as well. Like I'm the person that likes to rely on myself as much as I can. I know that that's not obviously, that's not possible all the time, definitely. But in terms of like putting content out there, I find that you need as few sort of friction points as possible. I'm just looking at this other cat. This is Gimpy, and he is completely enamored with this table right now. It's very strange. He always looks slightly confused. It's quite funny. But anyway, sorry, he's taking my attention. But another thing that I was going to say as well, and again, this is hard for me to read between the lines because I don't know this person, but if you're a guitarist, if you have a space that you can set up in your house and create content, because this is the thing, right? In pits, on gigs, the lighting is low. It's, you know, there are cameras that are good in low lighting. I find the GoPros are very good in low lighting, but unless you have a great LD, which I have had in the past, let me tell you, some of the photos that have come out of having a great LD is just the best. Like unbelievable epic shots, and it's purely because of the lighting ain't what I'm doing, or barely. But anyway, yeah, so you kind of have to rely on people and the situation to get those good shots or videos or whatever else. But if you can have a space where you can actually control the environment a little better, so having your own space within your home, or even if you have a studio that you have access to, and just creating a space that you can capture video in well, like fairly well lit, you know, obviously studios and stuff often in basements, so, you know, just buying a couple of lights just to really create some nice sort of shadows, or just it really makes a difference. Maybe having something in the background as well, just make it interesting, make it a little bit captivating, and then creating content within that. So just, you know, whether it is playing covers or your own things or something else, again with your audience in mind and your preferred genres in mind, that's always a thing as well. And then creating a bit of a performance. Now, obviously, if you're in a room by yourself, it looks a bit awkward if you're playing and you're like swinging your head about and it's like, whoa, and there's no one there. That's slightly odd. But you can still create like vibes when you're in your room, like just and really create that. And then this also makes it easier to create content when you're not gigging as much. And also, side note, if you really plan it well, because I'm obsessive with things like this, you can create like a checkerboard thing on your profile where you might have one live video, I'm going to call it a studio video, whether that's in your house or in a studio. Yeah, so one live, one studio, one live, one studio, and just have that contrast just to really create a bit of interest. Like I say, it's all these little bits of interest. Also, the stuff in your studio setup can be more sound-based, more playing-based, whereas the live stuff, again, a little bit different in a pit. But let's say you're on stage, it can be more performance led. And again, if you're recording the audio over the top again, then it's kind of fine. Obviously, don't make mistakes on, well, you're allowed to make mistakes. Play well on the gigs. Also, obviously, sounds obvious. I'm just going to say it, so I've said it. Also, I've just realised I think this camera is acting a bit strangely, so I apologise. Again, this is all a bit makeshift because of the situation, so you have to bear with me for the foreseeable at least. I'm hoping in about a month's time things will be different, so I'll be settled again. But for now, I'm kind of on the move a little bit. It makes me sound like I'm fleeing. So, yes. So that's what I'd say with that. Another way that you can actually bring higher quality to your, maybe not videos, but feed and your, like, people's initial impression of your profile, say, is using things like stills on your videos. So creating more of a brand, creating a cohesion between posts. And again, this could be a checkerboard thing where, let's say, something really simple like having a border around the still, like, so lifting a still from the actual video, first of all, and then adding a border. One can be a black border, the next one could be a white border, the next one a black, and then white, and da-da-da-da-da. Simple things like that really can just bring a little bit of, yeah, just cohesion is the only word that's really coming to mind right now, like amongst all of your profile. Also, you can do those things retrospectively. Obviously, if you're doing photos as well, that makes it not more difficult, but you need to do a bit more. Well, do you need to do a bit more editing? No, I guess not. It's sort of the same amount, really. Also, double check the new Instagram dimensions, and knowing them by the time you are listening to this, if you're not listening in real time, they may have changed it again. So do make sure that the dimensions are kind of appeasing to the eye, appealing, not appeasing, appealing to the eye. And another thing that you can do also is, that's very useful, because if you think about seeing a profile, right, even if we've got stills and there seems to be a pattern and it looks nice, right, if I'm seeing a still of a random person, say, playing guitar, I don't know what I'm looking at. Like, I don't, what's going to make me want to click on that video to watch that person. So in terms of things like this show reel that I was talking about, I always think that the first post on any musician's page should be, could be a show reel of their playing and of their performance and what they do. So pin that first post, and on the actual still, on the cover photo, put live show reel or studio show reel or portfolio if it's a recording, if you're doing a lot of remote recording and it can be all the releases. Just something so blatant, like, this is what this is. I'm still working on finding good ways of wording stuff. Like, it's an ongoing process. I find it very creative. I actually really enjoy it. But it's the same for all the other posts. So whether it is kind of, it could be that you're saying, this week's gigs, or you could even put the name of whatever the show is that you're doing and put that on the still. Just make sure that it's legible, it's readable from a distance. People aren't going to be reading up close on their phones or anything like that. In fairness, there's something on my profile that I still need to sort out. I just can't be bothered right now. I probably will do it later today now that I've said that. I've actively said it on an actual episode, so I need to sort that out. It's my second pinned post. If I haven't done it by the time this comes out, then you can come and hurl abuse at me, please. So yeah, I'd say that that's another good way. Oh, we're getting drilling now. That's fun. That's really fun. Awesome. I hope that this isn't crazy loud. So yeah. So I'd say that, like, creating covers is a really good way to, as in cover photos, is a really good way to just draw the eye, encourage people to click on the posts. And again, it can be just, trying out this sound or yeah, it can be, just get creative with it. See what works, see what doesn't, and just try things, because you're more likely to get someone to click on a post that has words involved than none at all. So you may as well try it. And the other fun thing is that you can always change the cover photo at any time. So if you did want to rebrand, say, if you wanted to create a different color scheme on your profile, it's very easy to do that. If you wanted to try a different cover photo and then different words on it. You can do that. It's really not a big deal. It's not like you've done it and then that's it. And also, as I say, it's an ongoing process and it's very creative anyway. So it's good to just try these things and keep trying with new things. Maybe not going back over old things so much. I know it's very easy to do that, like get into that habit, and I have done that in the past. But yeah, I think that is a kind of good way of doing it. So those are kind of my tips, I suppose. That's what comes to mind from that message, and I hope that has helped in some way. I know that this is a vaguely short episode for what I usually do, but let's face it, we don't want to listen to the drilling, we don't want to listen to the hammering, do we? So I shall leave it there. But if you have enjoyed this episode, despite all the interruptions, then please feel free to like, share and subscribe to this podcast. If you'd like to leave a review, maybe not off the back of this episode, then you can, but don't worry too much today. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon or support this podcast on Patreon, you now can, patreon.com/EmilyDrums. And if you'd like to reach out for one-on-one coaching, you can do either at emilydrums.com or over on Instagram if you find me at Hey Emily Drums. Right, I'm going to probably go out for a walk now because I feel a bit chaotic. And I do know why. I don't like the drilling. I feel like I'm letting you guys down, but here we are. I've done the episode for today at least. Right, I'm gonna love you and leave you. I hope you're having a good week. I hope this has been you've been able to listen to this, and I'm gonna listen back and it's not gonna be as bad as it feels right now in terms of sounds. But yeah, have a great week, and I will see you next week. Not next time, next week for another subject. All right, sending you lots of love. I'll see you later. Bye.